Now, a lot of people are not gonna like what I have to say on this topic, bro. Skill versus... Bro, what am I? Shit the slosh from Ice Age? Skill versus athleticism. Now, these sometimes do play a part hand in hand, but unfortunately, you can't rely on solely one or the other when it comes to being an athlete or being a sports playing person. Specifically basketball, because this is a basketball channel. When it comes to basketball, skill and athleticism, hand in hand. Like the beautiful medley between a rice cake and peanut butter. Like a beautiful medley between pizza and sauce. You have to have both to be successful in the sport of basketball. Even if you're not super athletic, you have to have some form of athleticism, okay? Not everyone has the high vertical, but some people are fast. If you don't have either, you're going to have to rely on skill, and that's not always going to work, unfortunately. Well, I say that to say this. Maybe if I can get my words out right. I was watching a video the other day. It was Plagueboy Max playing against Ray, okay? Neither of them are athletic. One is very skilled, one is not. Ray is not like super great at basketball. Max is very good in terms of his height, okay? Skill will carry you farther than raw athleticism. That's my first point. And the reason I say that is because if you look in the NBA, like players that rely solely on how athletic they are, you see exactly how far they get. And I'm not here to point fingers because I really do respect this player. Well, both of these players, but Russell Westbrook, John Morant, right? Two players who are heavily athletic, very athletic players. But what happens? The other aspects of their game kind of lack a little bit. They have a few nights where they'll drop like high amount of points and things like that. Like Russell Westbrook is like the all-time triple-double leader, but his athleticism plays a huge part into his game. So you see when he gets injured or now that he's aging, some of his game has started to taper down. Same thing with John Morant. Like he's heavily athletic. He'll have a few nights where he can play like out of this world, jumping out the gym, all that. But what's going to happen when John Morant isn't working on the rest of his skills and still prefers to rely on athleticism? Athleticism will fade. It doesn't matter. Like with most things in life, if you keep at it, you will keep that skill, right? A language, music. But even if you keep up with athleticism, as you age, your body's capabilities to do more and more will taper down. It's just an unfortunate fact of life. So in a professional sports sense, yes, athleticism will reign supreme in those first few years, especially going through your prime, which for men, your prime is like your 30s. Your 30s is your prime. If you're in your 20s, you're not in your prime yet. Stop using the word prime because you haven't hit it yet. But your prime as a male in terms of sports is like your 30s. Okay, only reason why a lot of NBA players kind of start to retire off in their late 30s is because of injuries, and because they're pushing their bodies to the to the absolute maximum that the human body can go for that sport. So they kind of, exhaust themselves. That's why you can see like 50-year-olds still playing at the park or playing in the gym and they're still able to produce. They haven't retired from the sport yet. NBA players will retire at like 38 and be done for the rest of their lives. Now, coming away from the professional perspective, content creators, okay? Now, we've already discussed this. Go watch my other video. I'll have the iCard pop up right now. I think it's called social media. This is what's wrong, whatever, social media basketball, something like that. We're talking purely content creators, not actual hoopers or trainers, right? I'm a trainer, I'm a hooper. Just use social media as our platform to grow our business and audience. Big difference. Social media and content creators do it solely for like views and content and all of that, right? They're more gimmicky. They have a certain presence about them that's not purely the sport or like getting better in it. So two examples I'll use for this in terms of content creators who this fits the categories of will be Plagueboy Max in terms of skill and Duke Dennis in terms of athleticism. Okay, now this is not to just use like two big names to like garnish views or whatever. This is just because that's the first two that pop into my mind during the whole AMP, during like the pandemic and all that, and the games of 21 and them playing basketball and different sports like that. Duke Dennis really excels at every single sport just due to his athleticism. He's fast. He has his fast twitch reflexes and muscles, they work very well. He's explosive, he's quick. Fast, quick, and explosive are 3 different things. Argue with your mama, I'll have a different video on that in terms of athletes. But that's where he shines, and it's because those athletic movements are so efficient. He can excel in that regard in really any sport. It's kind of like, for me personally, I grew up playing soccer and tennis, basketball here and there. Right, I didn't start heavily focusing on basketball until like 8th grade, but I've always been really like good at all sports just because those fundamentals of athleticism are in my DNA, and because I worked on athleticism before the skills. Skills come naturally. I forgot the word. I'm gonna pop it up on screen, but there's a certain group of individuals, myself included, and a lot of, it's just genetics. It's really genetics. You can look at moves done by certain people and replicate them without too much practice. I don't remember what the word is, but it's going to be here on the screen somewhere. When you have that plus athleticism, you can really learn to do anything, right? And I do believe Duke Dennis has this because he doesn't really practice at anything. He just lets his athleticism and coordination carry his success in sports. And you take someone like Black Boy Max, who it's very obvious he works on his game. You can look at someone playing basketball and tell if they heavily practice certain moves or if they're just naturally good with something. Black Boy Max, he's like 5'6". He's little, okay? He's short. I wouldn't say little, but he's shorter. He's below average height for a male. So skill has to be there because he's not going to be as athletic just due to his height. Even if he is athletic, his height plays a huge part. And that's a problem in basketball because it's a tall person sport, unfortunately. Max has way more raw skill and talent than Duke Dennis. Argue with your mama, bro. Max is more skilled with the ball. He's a better shooter. He's a better basketball player. Duke Dennis is a better athlete. Is one better than the other in terms of skill versus athleticism? No, it really depends on your goals in the long term. If you want to survive long term in a sport, skill is probably the way you should go. And here's why I say that. Being highly skilled in something and not being as athletic will increase your longevity in a certain sport or physical type competition, right? And why I say physical competition is there's certain things that people consider sports that are not sports. Sports have a set goal or determination and set parameters to make that score or goal, right? That's why skateboarding is not a sport. It's a competition because it's judged purely on opinion. Okay, judges, that's why they have a panel of judges who all have differing opinions on what fits the criteria for certain moves. But unfortunately, it's not a clear cut, okay, you do this move with like it's just too nuanced and it's all opinion based judging. Even if there's categories, and this is a little bit of a rant, even if there's categories that you have to meet, the perception of if you met certain marks in that category are all opinion based. That's why cheerleading, gymnastics, come after me if you want, but I don't care because it's just facts. Sports have set goals, determination that can't be argued. Competitions are similar, but it's opinion based. Cheerleading, skateboarding. I used to skateboard heavy, so I'll take the shot from that community any day. I used to skateboard heavy. Skateboarding's not a sport, it's a competition. Not saying that it's not difficult, but in terms of how it's judged and scored, it's a competition. Cheerleading's a competition. Parkour is a competition. Breakdancing a competition. Sports and competitions take equal amount of skill, hard work, athleticism, finesse, all that. Equal. They're equal, but they're different. Your score in a competition is based off of someone else's opinion and judging. Sports are judged based off of clear-cut goals. Certain things equal certain scores, no debate. That's all it is. Anyway, in the sports world, skill will carry you farther longer because you're not really beating up your body as much, right? I know plenty of players personally who are very, very skilled, amazing shooters, amazing ball handlers. We got some good running backs, receivers, super, they have a finesse that goes with their craft. And it's because that hard work, dedication, and efficiency. Unfortunately, I know a bunch of people who are very athletic who've had to taper off their career and retire early because athleticism will kill your body. Even if you have the best medicine, recovery, and all of that in the world, that high impact, all of that, it still takes a toll on your body. Unless you've got like a stem cell IV bag in your home gym or something like that, even then it still takes a toll on your body as you age, and you're just gonna have to age out of the sport. Not saying one's better than the other, they're different, and it's in terms of longevity that's how they're majorly different. Now, if you take two, now here's where we're going to get into the debate portion. You can comment below if you want to. I will pick up a athletic person on my team before I pick up a skilled person on my team. Here's why. You can be skilled all you want, but athleticism is what is going to help you win that game, unfortunately. Especially if we're playing 1v1 basketball, 2v2, 5v5. In just basketball alone, I will take the super athletic player over the super skilled player. The super athletic player is going to be able to jump higher, run faster, have more stamina, endurance. In general, those athletic movements carry over from whatever sport, and they will be able to succeed. That's why you see a lot of NFL players, they grew up playing basketball. A lot of NBA players grew up playing soccer. They grew up playing football. You know, like they have the crossover between a bunch of sports that add up to them being good enough to do it all. But let me know what you're down about. It's skill versus athleticism. They're both useful. They both will help you in different aspects of life. But what would you take? Let me know down below.